Greetings, amigops and top teners everywhere. This is Mike from Top 10 with Kyle and Mike. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by our lovely Detroit Tiger-shirted co-host Kyle. Now, Kyle is joined by a very special guest, his doppelganger, his dad, his spiritual guru, Jim. So Jim and Kyle are going to be talking to us about a topic this week. I actually am suspicious that I might know the topic, and keen listeners may even have heard this topic teased at some point in the past when we were dreaming about having Jim join us on this podcast. So this is a huge get for us. We've got a celebrity co-host. We're going to talk about this topic for somewhere, hopefully less than an hour. We're going to debate it vigorously, and then by the end of the episode, we will have a Jim and Son stamp of approval podcast official list. So, gents, what are we talking about this week?
So, well, we talked about this a lot. I mean, over the years of what topics we could attack for this, and I'm not really an expert at. Well, I'm an expert at some things, but some things are not suited for broadcast. But this one seems a good topic because he's this movie list of the top 10 Denzel Washington
yes
movies, and it was really hard paring it down to 10 because I went out to a few websites. He's done like 60, 70, 80 movies.
He's done a lot.
And I've tried real hard to view them all. I've gone to libraries. I've tracked them down all over Michigan, and I've seen a good portion of them. But like I said, this is not the official list that you might find on Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, but this is my top 10.
We are entirely uninterested in what we would find on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm very excited to get your list.
Yeah. Because these are movies that most of them I actually own, because I collect Denzel Washington movies. And some of them I keep right next to my computer, and I watch them continuously. I mean, every week I watch parts of at least one or two of them. Plus other movies, like with Meg Ryan and Amy Adams.
You do love Meg Ryan. Those are your big three are Denzel, Meg Ryan, specifically You've Got Mail, and Amy Adams, specifically in Leap Year.
Yeah.
What a troika. I knew you loved Leap Year, but it's just, that's a great encapsulation of like the central contradiction of human taste. Like people who love
and Die Hard.
People who love the finest sushi also love hot dogs. And you loving Leap Year and probably one of the finest actors of our generation in Denzel Washington is so great. It's so great to me.
I don't know what it is about human tastes, I guess. Yeah, different things.
Well, yeah, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's probably worth noting that I get a lot of my movie fandom from you, Dad. Like, it's no coincidence that you love movies and I also love movies. So I owe a lot of that to you. But also, like, just in case it wasn't clear, what was it, your birthday a few years ago? Or maybe it was Christmas. Aaron got you that set of coasters with pictures of Denzel.
Yeah.
So if you, when you watch movies, you've probably got your coffee on a mug of Denzel.
Yeah, that's close to the TV, for sure.
All right. Well, that's the list. I'm excited. I would say probably the best place
I'm very excited.
Is number 10.
Yeah, we'll go start at number 10. Number 10, I've got Training Day, which is really a really good movie.
What are your highlights from the film? Like, what's your favorite thing about Denzel's performance in this film?
Well, you really hate him. I mean, that's the essence of a really good actor is if they can make you love them or hate them, And, and he was in this movie, you really, I mean, he's done such a wide variety of characters, and, he's done villains and he's done, like the Fences character, where he's a father and a a philandering father, and and then anyway, for Training Day, he was a really rough. Well, he's kind of like American Gangster, but anyway. Yeah, Training Day. He's a cop.
Yeah.
And a dirty cop.
Well, I think it's a funny time in his career because if I'm not mistaken, Training Day I think is 2001, and I think Remember the Titans was 2000. So kind of America's picture of Denzel Washington at this age is we're all amazed that he continues to be so handsome at this age because he's like probably 45 maybe around now. So we're like, wow, okay. So we're excited to see Denzel as a little bit of an older actor who's still really good looking and he's softening and turning into this sort of nice older guy. And then boom, you have this movie where he's tricking a young cop into smoking PCP and he's murdering people, and what does he yell? He's like, I'm the king of the jungle, and he's got all this crazy shit that's going on in this movie that just, like you said, it really shows that he can make you love him, and then in this movie, be seduced by him and then hate him.
You want to know something weird? I've actually not seen this movie, which is stunning to
Training
me.
Day? Yeah, you've never seen it?
What?
Yeah.
You've probably never seen The Good, the Bad, the Ugly either.
Yeah.
No, he's seen half of it.
He's joking because I freaked out yesterday when I found out that you hadn't seen it. Because we walked by a restaurant called Tuco, and I was like, oh, look at that. It's Good, the Bad, and the Ugly reference. And Jen's like, I thought that was a Breaking Bad reference, which I'm pretty sure that the Breaking Bad thing is a callback anyways, but
I want to state, I know you guys are having a boys' weekend, so I would not be offended, although we do have a date on the calendar to watch that. If you guys decided to watch that together, it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
You just have to carve out 3.5 hours.
It's a long movie.
Yeah.
It's a good one, but
well, Clint Eastwood made a lot of good movies. You could have made a Clint Eastwood list too.
Maybe we will.
You're welcome to come back anytime. Yeah. I just want to say, having Training Day at number 10 is proof positive of what a career Denzel has had. The idea that you could, like a true Denzel fan could put this at number 10, wow.
Yeah.
But like I said, these are my preferences too.
Yeah.
But when we get up to number 1, you might not agree with me at all. But anyway.
What did you have at 9?
9 is one of his more current movies that I like. Fences.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's another gut wrenching. Not gut wrenching. I don't know, but you could really feel for that person that he's portraying in that movie. That double life he's having, and how his kids hate him at the end there. But that's not an action packed movie, but it's just some really good acting that I thought.
It's kind of interesting how his career has gone because it's like because oftentimes you see a guy who, maybe not oftentimes, it's becoming more of a thing where a guy that was known as a dramatical actor like can kind of turn into an action star. So like Liam Neeson is kind of the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, perfect example.
And so like that arc is one that it seems like is usually like permanent and irreversible, where like you haven't seen Liam Neeson do like another movie like Schindler's List, but like Denzel was like an Oscar nominated actor who then became an action star and now is again an Oscar nominated actor. Like he's jumped back and forth pretty seamlessly. Like he did this movie and then he probably did Equalizer 2 like the next year. So like his ability to jump back and forth and like for us as viewers to just be totally fine with that is pretty impressive because I don't know how many people are doing that consistently.
Yeah. Totally agreed. I actually almost watched this film last night, but my dedication to the podcast prevented me from doing so. So I have as a homework item from my lovely co-host Kyle that I have to watch Stranger Things. I watch Stranger Things, but I have to get going because I've been really slow in watching it. So my parents and I were actually gonna watch Fences, of all things. My grandfather recommended it, and we were gonna watch Fences last night. Very coincidentally. And then I said, I gotta watch Stranger Things because the people need content, and I haven't watched it yet. But the thing that I think is interesting, so I don't know the plot of Fences. I know that he directed it. I know that it was Oscar nominated and that people loved it, but what I think, Jim, what you're saying is interesting is that he's a sympathetic but not necessarily a likable character. And that's something I think is really cool about Denzel. We just heard in the news a couple weeks ago about how the Rock and Jason Statham and all these actors have these rules about whether they can get punched. And if they get punched, they got to punch somebody back so that they don't look weak.
Huh.
And there's a lot of actors who really don't want to be seen a certain way. And I think Denzel is really open to the idea of just doing what the role demands. Like, he's a guy who, if people think he's like Alonzo from Training Day, or they think he's like his character from Fences, or one of his more likable characters, that's okay with him. He just wants to do what's right for the role.
He seems like he's invested in just the institution of acting.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, I don't know. Obviously it's hard to say. I've never met the man, but I don't know. I've listened to him on, he was on Bill Simmons' podcast once, and he came off as just very invested in, like, he just loves acting. Like, I think he has some stage experience, and he just likes being in movies and acting. Like, it's fun for him. So it's fun for us too. All right. What about number 8?
I have, Inside Man, 2006. Now that's an interesting movie. I mean, we've seen a lot of different movies, but this, it's a good plot for robbing a bank, you know?
It's a heist movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle, have you seen this one?
No.
Oh, I have. This is a fantastic movie. Fantastic. And Denzel is awesome in this movie.
All right. So
he plays a cop.
Oh, he's a cop.
He's not, right? He's not part of the gang. He's a cop.
Yeah, he's the cop. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like the hostage negotiator, right? He's like the...
I don't know if he was the negotiator. There was the other person. Well, maybe he was. But there were two main cops.
It was Jodie Foster, right?
Well, the owner of the bank hires Jodie Foster to get his... Or no, was he the owner of the... Yeah, he was the owner of the bank, and he had a safe deposit box with some...
Yes.
Really personal stuff in it that he didn't want.
Some shockingly sensitive stuff. Yeah, we find out how sensitive that stuff is at the end.
So he hires her, Jodie Foster.
Mm-hmm.
She had a pretty good performance for herself, too.
Who are the bank robbers?
Yeah, she was terrific. Clive Owen.
What? I need to see this movie's stat.
Well, I think one thing that I really like about Denzel's career is that he's a guy who a lot of his movies are about race, and a lot of them... It's like, it really rests on his shoulders to sort of set the tone for the movie. Like, I think the thing about Remember the Titans is he surprises you by being the guy who doesn't want to talk about race. And I think in this movie, where it's a Spike Lee movie, I love that they have the really charismatic black actor as the detective, and they have the really charismatic white actor as the thief. Cause it switches like the classic movie dynamic on its head, and Denzel just kills it with that.
Wow. I gotta see this. Jodie Foster and Denzel. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And Clive Owen and Christopher Plummer. Captain Von Trapp is the owner of the bank.
Wow. Yeah.
This is a really good plot, actually. I bet you bits of this have been taken in real bank robberies. It's really. It
is one of the most
ingenious.
clever ideas for robbing a bank I've ever heard. It's so different. It's so weird. It's such a great idea.
No more, because I'm gonna watch this movie. And my dad is a notorious movie spoiler. There's another movie on this list that he just spoiled the shit out of for me. So we're not spoiling Inside Man.
All right, so let's go on to the next one, number 7.
Hold on.
Oh, what?
Well, hold on, because we just did number 8.
Yeah.
Which means it's time for the not top 3. Except I don't know how in the world you could have possibly put a not top 3 together.
Yeah, this feels like it would rip your heart out.
Like I said, it was hard, but I made a list of 13, 15 movies. So anything that didn't show up on the top 10, we're going to make as the top of the...
Well, first we gotta cue the music. If we're gonna do it, we gotta cue the music.
Oh, I do? Okay. Yeah. All right, start the music then.
All right, there we go.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you for those stanky beats, Kevin. Terrific music.
Dad is distracted. He's got his whole list like printed out. This is the most organized, most efficiently constructed list I've seen. You've actually got it printed out on like computer paper, but you were shuffling on your clipboard for the not top three, so you're a little distracted.
Well,
yes, this is the nerve center of the top 10 right here.
Yeah.
I wasn't given any instruction on how this is done, so I didn't know how to do any research. I did the best I could, but I'm sure it wasn't researched as well as your spice one or your egg one, or who knows.
Well,
I want to say that the printing out of the paper is probably the best thing that any guest has done, because what ends up happening is a lot of times you end up with the computer and it gets very confusing because we like to look at each other while we're doing this. And if you have the list up over the visual, it's weird. You end up having a monologue to a computer screen.
I see.
What's interesting is, we don't have to get too far off track, but the way that different people do their list, because we don't tell anyone how to do anything. And like a lot of people have it just jotted down on their phones. Some people have like journals. Some people have it like scribbled on the back of like it's kind of fun to see the different ways that they
KFW had the was he on the phone or he was on a journal?
I think he had a phone, yeah. But like Erin always has some.
That was surprising.
Yeah. Erin always does it in her like journal. It's fun to see. But
yeah.
All right. So anyway.
All right. What do we got? Just
what
go through the pain. Tell us
what do we do,
not
just
tops.
spit these three out or what?
Yeah. What was the first one?
Well, all three of these movies are pretty good. Some of them are the same kind of thing. They got an interesting plot to them. Like Out of Time. That's got a twist. It was pretty good.
Okay.
What's that? I don't think I know this one. What's that one all about?
He's a sheriff in Florida, and he's having an affair with a woman.
Nice.
And there was some kind of a drug thing, and they have like $500,000 in the safe. And this movie is on how they're gonna somehow get this money. Take it out of evidence, whatever. So anyway, I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but this woman he's having an affair with, she's got cancer. She needs money to for the operation or for treatment or whatever. And this guy, and Denzel is the sheriff, and he loves this woman, and he figures out a way to get this money for her. And then there's a twist at the end, but it's pretty good. Pretty good.
I feel like I know where that one is heading, but
but it was good. Yeah. And I think I might actually own this movie. I might have found it for real cheap at the library, so I bought it.
I don't know that one. It started off sounding real Burn Notice-y, and it sounds like it's not quite that.
It says it's got Eva Mendes in it.
Ooh.
So that's their second time together.
I feel like any movie about Miami she has to be in.
Yeah, Kyle, do you know that she was in Training Day?
Oh, really?
And very importantly for the listeners, I just want to give you a heads up. Full nudity from Eva Mendes. Like, top to tail, full nudity, Eva Mendes. Very quick, but she is nude in Training Day.
All right.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was a couple of racy scenes in that movie.
Yeah, I remember that very well. I will tell you, 15-year-old Michael remembers that quite well.
15? You're not even allowed to go and see an R-rated movie at 15.
Nope, I was not, but I did have HBO.
Oh, that's the downfall of America, I think.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right, what's
another
next?
one is a really touching movie. Antoine Phillips.
Antoine Fisher?
Fisher, sorry. And then
that's actually, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, it's a touching movie, and it's a true story. And the guy that, the young sailor and the main character in the movie, besides Denzel, this is actually a true story. And he actually wrote the screenplay for this movie, I think.
Whoa.
And I don't know if there's a book or
not. Yeah, that
Probably
sounds right to me. Now, is Robert De Niro in this movie? Am I remembering right?
You know what? I don't know.
IMDb doesn't seem to think so.
I'm looking right now. I remember...
It's not in my little blurb.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, it's not. But I remember there was... maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. But that's a terrific movie.
It is.
He directed that one, I think, right?
His directorial debut.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
2002.
And then we go to the third one. He Got Game. This is one of his early ones, 1998.
Kyle, have you seen this movie?
I haven't. I know of the famous scene in it though.
Spike Lee.
So do you know, like, so what's really interesting about this movie is that instead of getting an actor, they actually got Ray Allen to star in this movie, who was at the time, I think, in it, like one of his first couple seasons in the NBA, so he's still young. And the basic plot of this movie is that Denzel Washington is a convict whose son is being recruited to play at a couple of big universities. And I think the governor has promised to commute his sentence if he can get the kid to attend that state university.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I think you're referencing, could you tell the story? Cause it's a great story of this pivotal scene.
So I don't know what the setup is, why they're playing each other, but Denzel's character is...
It's a father-son rivalry kind of thing. Like they're having a chat about life. And...
Oh, I didn't realize that they were father-son. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yes.
That's how he has the influence to sway him to get what the governor wants. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yep.
Well, they're playing one-on-one, and I guess Denzel, like, is scoring baskets on him. Like, he's up like 5-6 nothing on him, and Ray Allen in the movie is like visibly upset, you know, because his old man is beating him at basketball. But it turns out that they told Ray Allen when they were going to film it that Denzel was going to go down like 5-0 or something, and then Denzel just started actually playing. And so, and the way Denzel tells it, I'm sure that this is not true. I'm sure he's actually just good at basketball, but when Denzel told it on the podcast, he said he just got lucky on a couple of shots, and he was legitimately just beating Ray Allen at one-on-one. And Ray Allen was mad because he didn't know that was going to happen, and he felt... And so, like, when he looks angry in the movie, it's because he's actually shocked that Denzel is beating him at basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Well, Denzel, I started, you know, I never finished his book, but I read the first few chapters or half the book, but he was a football player in high school.
Yeah.
Well, and his son he at least made a couple of different NFL teams practice squads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, was it USC he played at, I think?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, and his son is now an Oscar nominated, I think, actor.
He's at least in an Oscar nominated film.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be, probably in 20 years, we'll probably be doing a John David Washington top 10.
Well, we're going to see, you know what we're going to see him in soon, right, Kyle?
Chris Nolan's new movie.
He's in the next Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah. Did you see Black Klansman, Dad?
No.
He's in that, and he's really good. And there's a couple of scenes where you're like, oh my God, that is Denzel's son. Cause he has this, he has the same kind of like voice thing that Denzel does. Yeah. It's pretty cool. But
well, you guys
very
should
charismatic.
Have a list of, children of famous players.
Great idea.
Oh no! Oh my God, we missed, we missed that so badly.
Wow, this is a live correction to our literally
huge miss
podcast. Tough.
What, you didn't have him on the list?
No, we missed him.
No, damn it, we missed him.
Did you do Clint Eastwood's son? He
made Scott Eastwood made honorable. Yeah.
Yes.
But all right, I'm glad that your not top 3 fittingly is just you couldn't pick 3 Denzel movies you didn't like, so you just picked 3 outside your top 10.
Yeah,
that's fitting. I like it.
Very fitting.
I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that he's made that I didn't like.
I honestly can't really either. It's not like I can think of a movie off the top of my head. So,
well, it's not
I think
I've seen them all, but
I think for the listeners, this would be somewhat akin to me putting together like a top 10 Tom Brady seasons. And my not top 3 would just be like, oh, I love that season. He was great. It just was a little less great than those other 10 that I just rattled off.
Yeah. Well, never mind. I don't want to spoil anything if it's higher on your list. Let's just move on to number 7.
All right, number 7, Flight.
Now
that's an interesting movie.
Explain.
Well, he's the same kind of thing, kind of like Fences. He's a bad father. He's got his ex-wife he doesn't treat well, and he's a philanderer. sleeping with the stewardesses, stuff like that. But his ability to fly a plane was it was kind of like Sully, kind of.
Oh yeah,
He does super things with this plane to save the plane and all the passengers. But it was good.
Now this is not based on a true story, right?
I doubt it.
Okay.
No, I actually think, if I'm remembering correctly, I heard that the pitch for this movie was like, imagine the Sully situation, but it turns out that he had something to drink. And like, what would happen then? I think that that's sort of the pitch.
Gotcha. How do they explain his like amazing flight abilities? Is he like a veteran?
Yeah, I think he was a veteran.
Okay. Because I like that angle on it, is like he was an ace fighter pilot and now he's,
Yeah,
he was definitely
this is something that's interesting about Denzel's career. I mentioned earlier sort of the race angle. Like, race is an important factor in Denzel's entire career, and it's cool that he alternates between playing movies where race is explicitly a factor and in playing roles where it's usually just a white leading guy. Like, this is a movie that you could just drop Tom Hanks into and he plays it and it's just Sully, or you could drop, any number of sort of guys in his age bracket, and it's really cool that he plays this, and it's just a movie about a guy, and that's part of Denzel's skill set, is he can kind of jump in and out of any role with such ease.
I know one of our favorite writers on one of our favorite websites, Shay Serrano, he did a list a couple years ago of the top, it might have been 20 fictional pilots of all time, and and he had a little blurb about each one. And then for number 1, he just had 3 screen captures from this movie. It's Denzel right side up, and then him upside down, and then right side up again. And then the only thing he wrote was, Denzel is the greatest fictional pilot of all time. So
that was amazing.
Yeah. Again, I need to see this one. I have not seen it.
And Kyle's got 2 uncles that are airline pilots, and an aunt.
That's true. That's true. It's an embarrassing oversight on my resume. Although I did see Sully, so I'm not.
Yeah, this was better than Sully.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah,
and kind of human. Who did a great job? I don't know. A job in this movie is John Goodman.
John Goodman? I love John Goodman.
Yeah.
Oh, he was good in this movie. Anyway,
totally.
He was it was his supplier for drugs, and he comes to the hospital to give him drugs.
I love how John Goodman simultaneously can be like the sitcom dad in like Roseanne or something, but he can also like very easily be like the drug dealer guy.
Well, that's what we're saying is the talent of Denzel, and I think the great actors have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay. What about number 6?
All right. Then we've moved 6.
Right?
Oh yeah. Crimson Tide, 1995. Well, that's an older one too.
Crimson Tide.
It's
that's a classic '90s movie.
I've never seen it. What's this one? Dad, what's the synopsis?
Well, Denzel is like he's not the captain of the submarine, but he's no, it's not a submarine. Are they a submarine or is it a ship?
I think it was a submarine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a submarine. That's right. Yeah. Because they were gonna. The crux of the movie is the captain wanted to use a missile against Russia.
Oh, is this obviously named like Red allusion to a Cold War movie?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Red October, but Denzel.
Isn't it?
Huh?
Red October.
No, I'm just comparing it to another similar type
it's kind
movie.
Of it's that kind of a movie though. But a lot of good interactions. Boy, I can't remember the name of Gene Hackman is
Gene Hackman. Mm-hmm.
And it's very good. There are a lot of good acting in that movie.
Well, it says here that Viggo Mortensen, James Gandolfini.
Yeah, I don't remember Gandalf being in there.
Huh. Interesting. Have you seen this one, Mike?
I have. This is a fantastic movie. This is Steve Zahn is in it. It's a really good movie. And Denzel is fantastic in this film. This is sort of the the transition point in Denzel's career from like young hotshot to elder statesman of acting, and he's great in this movie and goes toe to toe with Gene Hackman, which is incredible because this is sort of post peak but still peak Gene Hackman. So that's one of the best actors of all time that he goes up against.
I think I remember this statistic that Gene Hackman has been in more movies like than any other actor. At least when I heard that statistic, it was true. I don't know if it's true today, but he's been in so many movies.
Gene Hackman,
yeah,
like
and so great.
Have you ever seen French Connection? Oh no,
that's
a really good movie.
Kyle, you haven't seen French Connection?
No, I haven't seen any movies apparently.
Oh,
and you're such
French Connection is incredible.
Yeah, good chase scene in that, as I recall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, one of the best.
All right.
Number 5 then?
Number 5. This one had Courage Under Fire, 1995. Now this
Or 96.
96. I can't remember. I don't have my glasses with me. Anyway, this has got Meg Ryan.
Oh my god, how is it not number 1?
Well,
Denzel and Meg Ryan in the same movie.
I wonder if Denzel's ever made any movies with Amy Adams. Anyway, this is a good movie too. This is kind of, he plays, for some reason, it seems like he plays military people quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, there's another movie, further up on the list where he's in the military. Anyway, yeah, this is a good movie too. Courage Under Fire.
What's the plot? How would you summarize the film? What's the plot?
Well, he's investigating her nomination for the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Whoa!
And because of her, courage, bravery, and as a helicopter pilot in Afghanistan or Iraq, one of those. And as he's digging and he's interviewing all the crew members, he uncovers some falsities or some underlying plot that they're trying to hide, and it actually makes her more eligible for this medal, I think. But it was really good.
Is that a real process that happens? Like if someone's going to be given a medal like that,
I'm sure they do. And those they don't give those out nilly willy.
Yeah,
those are. It sounds like getting an FBI background check, whatever it is. But yeah, I bet you I'm pretty sure he's a military, but he's not a government official. He's in the military.
Well, based on the pictures on IMDb, he's wearing military garb.
All right.
So that's awesome.
Do you guys remember the story of Patrick Tillman, the football player who was also an Army Ranger?
And he gets killed when he's a soldier in Afghanistan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and that was a situation where the investigation uncovered that he was actually killed by friendly fire, but his family was told that he was killed by enemy fire. So it was kind of a modern day situation here where like they don't, when they tell a family what happened or there's a medal involved, that gets investigated very thoroughly.
I've so far on this list, I've literally seen none of them. None of these movies yet.
Really?
Which is wild.
I haven't seen this film, but I do know of this film. I think that my parents really liked this one, if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, it's touching. And she's a pilot, and she had a little girl, and it's very, very touching at the end. And the little girl gets, is at present where they actually give her the medal. It was nice.
Awesome. All right. What about number 4?
All right, we're getting down to the end. All right, here's another military one then. Another. I like this movie much better than not much better, but a soldier's story, and this is an old one, 1984.
Whoa.
He is pretty young, and oh man, the guy that gets shot. It was just during World War II, I think, and it's a platoon, a squadron of black baseball players, and they play for the army, and they play in exhibition games and things of that sort. And the sergeant in charge of this platoon is a son of a gun. Probably all sergeants are. But he gets killed. He gets stinking drunk like every night, and he's walking back to base, and he gets shot at the beginning of the movie. And Denzel Washington, no, and they send a guy from Advocate General to investigate the murder. And Denzel Washington is really young, and he's actually one of the soldiers in the squadron, the platoon. And Denzel Washington interviews all the players, and he gets down to the bottom of it.
So it's kind of the same thing. Like he's investigating.
Yeah, he's investigating, exactly. But this is a murder this time.
Oh.
But, wow, this sounds like an incredible film. I've never heard of this, and it feels like a real oversight.
Oh, it's very good. And like I said, it's number 4 in my list. And this is one of his really early films.
Well, on IMDb, so Denzel is listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's the 9th actor listed. Oh. So it's not like this is a starring role for him, and it's definitely on the earlier end of his career, right?
Oh, that's right. He's not the guy doing the investigating, like in Courage Under Fire. Oh. It's the guy from In the Heat of the Night. What's his name?
Well, the two.
Oh, is it oh God, why can't I think of his name right now? The Heat of the Night. Oh no, my brain isn't working. Not Sidney Poitier, right?
No. I'm talking about the TV series. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. Wow. Yeah. So in '84, Denzel. Let's see. Let's go back that far. Go way back here. Oh, wait. 84. Yeah, he had not done much by then. He'd only done a couple of films. So this is one of his very first. Maybe he was in this movie about a military investigation and really liked being it. And so then when they called him to do Courage Under Fire, he said, sure.
Yeah, 20 years later.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
But, when first time I saw Denzel, I knew he was going to be a great actor. He was in a TV series when I was in college called Saint Elsewhere, and it was a series about a cop. I mean, a hospital, kind of like ER. Mm-hmm. It was only, and he was one of the residents, and he was a really good actor in that show too.
Okay,
but you guys are way too young. That was probably before you were even born.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
That was like in the early 80s or late 70s. And you guys were born in the early 90s.
93 for me.
I remember. April 1st.
Same here.
Same year? Oh, yeah, you guys were the same year in college, weren't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I was born 16 days after Kyle.
No kidding. Yeah?
Yep.
In April.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Did you have any more movies that you wanted to put on the honorable mentions list?
You know what? I think everything that I printed off, we've mentioned.
All right.
Well, do you have?
Well, why don't we just do your top 3, and then Mike and I will fill in anything that we think should at least be mentioned.
All right.
Want to do that?
All right. Now these 3 are on my top 3 list because I've got them next to my computer, and these are the ones that I watch. Like I said, I watch bits and pieces of them all the time. I just put them in my computer, and while I'm doing something, I'll be listening to it. They're really good, especially The Equalizer. That one, that is a great movie. The first one. Kyle and I went to see the Equalizer 2 together, and it was. I don't even want to buy it. It's not down on my buy list. I
was excited. You were really, really hyped up. I was
geeked to see that.
You were really, really hyped up.
Because I like the first one so much.
Yeah, we saw that with, I think it was me, you, Uncle Chuck and Adam.
Yeah.
And it was a fine movie. It was fine. But it was definitely probably a little bit of a disappointment compared to how much you worship the first one.
I know a movie's good if I put it on my buy list. If I'm going to buy it, I'm going to shell out some money for it. It's got to be good.
That's true. That's a good point because You're not really profligate with your spending. So
for sure.
To spend on a movie, it has to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless I get a good deal. I mean, I go to the library and there's a lot of secondhand movies there I pick up for $1.
Yeah, well, but I feel like, yeah.
So it's a balance. Either it's a really good movie and I'm going to spend the money, or it's an okay movie that it's only $1.
So you'll have Equalizer 2 in your collection in like 10 years when you buy it.
When it gets to the library for $1, I'm going to get it.
Yeah, when it's in the
just to fill out my library.
Sure. But all right, so The Equalizer is based on a show, right? Did you watch the show?
Oh yeah, when it came out, when it was a TV series, I used to watch every episode. That was a good show.
Yeah.
And actually, I went to the library and I got the old series on DVD and I watched them. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've seen pretty much all the episodes, but they were good.
Oh, I didn't realize this was based on a series.
Oh yeah. This is like a ex-CIA guy that's retired. And he sets up shop in New York City, and he puts an ad in the newspaper. If you're down and out or overwhelmed by the odds are against you, call me. And he gets all sorts of weird people calling him, and he helps these people that are, in desperate need with something, and the police can't help them. And he's got a circle of friends, just like in the movie, of ex CIA people that are willing to help. They owe him favors or something, and they help him out. And the series was pretty good. It was out for at least 1 or 2 years. It wasn't
awesome.
Like a 9-year series, but it was pretty good. It was like I said, I watched as I recall, I used to watch every weekend or every show. And this is based on a TV series, and it's basically the same thing. He's like an ex-CIA, and he wants to get out of that business, and he, like in this movie, in The Equalizer, he fakes his death, and he, so he slips into the background. But I don't know, in the TV series, I don't know how he gets out of the CIA and into regular life. I don't know.
Well, the point is, at least, and I haven't seen this movie, but I have seen this.
Oh, you saw the second one.
But I did see the second one. And at least in the second one, he's just like, it's classic Denzel, where he's just, it's like that cool thing he does where he's just really, really calm under pressure. And he just lashes out it's cool because he he doesn't look it, because he's a little older at this point. Like the first one is 2014, the second one is probably like 2017. Mm-hmm. And so he's a little older, but he can definitely still do it. And I think this is the first movie he's ever done. This is the first sequel he's ever done.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I think you're right.
Wow. That's incredible. That's a hell of an accomplishment.
Isn't that wild to think about?
I was a little disappointed in the second movie. But the first movie was really good.
It goes to show you how much he liked the first one if he would do a second one.
Yeah.
When he never does sequels. So.
But he's not the character he plays in this movie. He's very unfazed, and he's very sympathetic to people's problems, because he helps this young hooker. He helps some of his coworkers at like the Home Depot. They call it Home Mart or something. And he does amazing things. Like at the end of the movie, the real crux of this problem that he solves, the head guy on the pyramid, he's actually oligarch in Moscow, and then at the end of the movie, he says 2 weeks later, and you see him in Moscow going after this head guy, and he gets him. And it's like his mansion looks like the White House. This guy lives in this mansion like the White House with guards, and as he's walking out, you see all these dead guards in the driveway and stuff. I mean, he kills everyone he comes across. And without a gun, he does everything with his hands. I don't think when he kills. I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but when he kills those 5 or 6 guys in the Russian restaurant, he comes in there with nothing, and he kills them all, with his hands. And these guys have guns and corkscrews and knives.
His body is a lethal weapon.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of action in it. Now, this is one of his action movies, man. There's a lot of action in this movie.
You love the action movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I like there's practically no killing at all in Leap Year. or You've Got Mail. I don't remember any guns in that one either.
Yeah, I don't think Tom Hanks uses guns in Sleepless in Seattle either.
Well, that's another good movie.
Yeah.
I like Tom Hanks, yeah.
And Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, all right. We're getting up there now. Now, this is a real touching movie. Man on Fire.
Oh no, you skipped one.
I know. I don't know which one I'm gonna put as number one.
Oh, you're switch. Oh, all right. You're switching it. All right.
I think I'm gonna put this one as number one.
All right.
That excites me so much because I just want to quickly interject here. So now that I know what number 2 is, I think I know what number 1 is. And that means that on a list of the top 10 movies of Denzel Washington's career, we are missing probably his 3 most famous roles. And I love it so much. Continue.
Really? So... Oh, you have to tell me those 3 because I'm gonna have to.
We'll go
I wonder if I've seen them.
You definitely have seen a couple of them.
You have.
All right. Well, anyway, Man on Fire. That's a good movie too. That's a touching movie.
Touching? Isn't it super violent?
It is, but he gets this. He's a bodyguard for this 6-year-old girl in Mexico, and they get this bond and he falls in love with her, and she gets kidnapped, and it's his goal in life to track down, just like the Equalizer, he tracks down that guy in Moscow. He tracks down the people responsible for her kidnapping. And
it's kind of a Taken scenario. Does he have a very specific set of skills? Is he
yes, because he's honed his skills like Taken, but in this one he turns into an alcoholic instead of like the Equalizer. He's not an alcoholic or a drug abuser. He goes right into it. But in Man on Fire, he's turned into an alcoholic, and his buddy in Mexico that kind of induces him to go to Mexico. He tells him, you can become a bodyguard, and as long as you try to keep your alcoholism under control, you could do this job. So he takes his job to be a bodyguard. And the family, the man, her father and mother, he's Mexican and his wife is American, I think. And he's taken over, the dad's, factory of an auto factory or auto parts factory, something. And they got a lot of money. And they have to hire a bodyguard because it's typical for rich families in Mexico, because I think they quote in the beginning of the movie that 6 people are kidnapped in Mexico City every day. They kidnap people and hold them for ransom every day. Wow. And it's their business. They're professionals. They say it in the movies. I am a professional. All these criminals, and it's really interesting. It's an interesting movie. If I assume it's true that this kind of corruption and illegal things go on in Mexico City. There's a lot of poverty. I'm sure there's a lot of poverty. I've never stepped foot in Mexico. I don't know, but I've heard of things going on. One of my people from church has gone to Mexico on business, and they were in a bank when it got robbed. Yeah, and they were in a taxi cab when it was robbed. Twice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They got bad luck. But
either bad luck or there's a lot of crime. I don't know.
Well, there's definitely an issue. I don't know. I'm assuming this is also true of Mexico, but I know this is a big issue in Venezuela and Colombia, where a lot of major league ball players, when they go back home, they have to be very careful about their families because people know that they're pretty rife to be ransomed. And I think that this is true of Mexico as well, where people who are known to have money have to be very careful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely based on true occurrences. But
yeah,
I'm glad we're keeping this streak alive. I've not seen Man on Fire. Have you seen it, Mike?
I haven't seen Man on Fire. I think I've seen like 15 minutes of it on TBS once and really enjoyed it, but I've never watched the whole movie.
No, I liked it.
I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
touching.
my dad loves this movie.
And the cute little girl is so cute.
I think it's Dakota Fanning.
It is Dakota Fanning,
Yeah, that's cool.
who just resurfaced in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes, they should not look like the Dakota Fanning I remembered, though.
Does not look like the girl who said swinging door in that movie with Brittany Murphy. It was surprising.
Swinging door in what movie?
There's this movie where she's like a rich little girl and this woman becomes her nanny, and the woman gets really mad and she storms out of this building, and so she slams the door, and little Dakota Fanning goes, swinging door, and the door swings around and hits the woman in the ass. It's great.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's called Uptown Girls. That's what it's called, Uptown Girls.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put that on my list.
Yeah,
Right.
my sisters loved that as kids, and I watched it with them a bunch of times. I was like, "Oh, I hate this movie," but really, I loved it.
So you have a good idea what's number one?
I think I do because Kyle has told me about one of your favorite Denzel movies, and I haven't heard it said yet, so I suspect it might be number one.
All right.
I have shared your love of this movie.
All right. Because this is the one I spoiled for you.
Yeah, you spoiled the shit out of this movie.
Yes.
Oh, well. Well, The Book of Eli is a very good movie. It's number one on my list. And it's very interesting premise, about Armageddon, and it's after not the Holocaust, but
A nuclear holocaust.
a nuclear Holocaust is
Yeah.
right. That's it. And he's traveling on foot across the United States on this mission from God, kind of like the Blues Brothers. They were on a mission from God.
Just like the Blues Brothers.
So this is basically Blues Brothers plus Mad Max.
Yeah, so he's got his Book of Eli and a saxophone.
But he's trekking across the United States, way past Chicago.
So this is, alright, I've seen this one. I've seen one on the list. It's fun because...
I have not seen this one.
No,
Oh, you ought to see it. It's good.
Can we watch it on our next movie weekend?
Oh, this would be a perfect movie weekend movie, yeah.
Okay.
But it's great. He's just like a badass dude, just like roaming this nuclear wasteland.
he's got the Equalizer. He's got these incredible skills.
Yeah.
Well, it's because he's given these skills from God.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got all this knowledge, this foresight, because he's on this mission for God.
It's weird. He's like a biblical prophet, like in this weird, not like a prophet. It's not like he's espousing, but he's like this very important figure in this like wasteland. And it's kind of a fun group of characters. Like Gary Oldman is the villain, and he hangs out with Mila Kunis for large stretches of the movie.
Ooh, that's fun.
It's really fun. And actually, Mike, that's the perfect way to describe it because it feels extremely Mad Maxy. Like
Mad Max is exactly right. Yeah.
It's like, it's also like, it has this weird, like, kind of unsettling, vibe to it that, like, reminds me of Courage the Cowardly Dog, weirdly. You never watched this old show.
Ooh.
It's like the same kind of, like, desolate kind of setting. And,
Yeah.
it's a good, I actually like this one a lot. I don't think it's, like, critically very well liked, but I love it. Part of it is because you like it so much, but I just really enjoyed the movie.
He does some incredible things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're walking through the desert, and there's a buzzard circling something, and he takes out his bow and arrow and he shoots the arrow and he hits it. It comes running down. The girl says, "What's that?" And he goes, "That's dinner." And he does some amazing things, like at the way the movie begins too. He takes out there's a crossbow. I think it's a crossbow, and he shoots this scroungy, skinny little cat, and does he eat that? I think he eats that. Yeah, he cooks it. He cooks it over a bonfire, and he saves the oil, and he uses the oil for this. He uses it for trading. I mean, it's in a world where you trade cat oil for your next dinner or something,
Yeah. He's a cowboy.
That's a harsh world where the Denzels of the world will survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a good one. It's perfect for like a movie weekend type scenario. It's good. It's just good fun.
it's an interesting movie. Like I said, it's not predictable. That's for sure.
Nope.
And then
You would never.
And then the part that
unless it were spoiled for you.
And then the part that I spoiled it for Kyle, after I saw the movie, and I never picked up on it when the first time I saw it. But
let's pump the brakes.
The more and more times you watch it, you pick up these clues.
That's the hallmark of a great film, though, is that when you watch it again, you're like, oh my god, what? Yeah,
yeah. Let's look what they said there. It's kind of if you probably
it's like The Prestige.
You probably never saw Harold and Maude.
No.
But Bud Cort and Ruth Gordon. And at the end of the movie, Ruth Gordon dies. But there's clues all through the movie about, that she's going to... this is an old movie. You guys probably never ever find it or see it. But she commits suicide at the end. And she gives clues during the movie that this is on her 80th birthday. Says, you're just counting time after 80. So I know that's anyway. Whatever.
Wow. Well,
if you ever get a pass by Harold and Maude, it's worth seeing.
Just like Book of Eli. So, all right, that's your list. I think we have a few movies we'd probably like to talk about that Denzel has been in. Mike, do you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to mention a couple. So I want to be very clear. We are not touching this list.
No.
This list is going to be
This is my list.
Yeah.
Yes, this will be in our museum someday.
Yeah, these are just movies that Denzel has been in that we think at least warrant mentioning on a podcast about Denzel.
And I put this list together really fast. If
true.
I had talked to you guys for a half hour on what your favorite movies are, I said, oh yeah, that's a great movie too. And I would have amended my list, but...
we're glad you didn't.
No, I'm glad you didn't.
At least we'll have something to talk about in that last half hour of this podcast.
We're already. You were so nervous that we couldn't talk for an hour. It's been an hour already.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So
I want to mention just three. We don't have to actually talk about them because I actually haven't seen two of the three. But there's a movie theater that I go to a lot. It's in Somerville, Mass, and it has this gigantic mural. And it's got all of these really famous actors in character, and it has Marilyn Monroe, I think, from Some Like It Hot. And it has Indiana, it has Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and it has Roy Scheider as, Brody from Jaws. And it has Denzel Washington as Malcolm X.
Yeah.
So Malcolm X is probably Denzel Washington's most famous role, or one of them. So that's what I wanted to mention. So Malcolm X, I want to mention
further down though.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
so it's just I love this because that's the thing about Denzel is he rewards every kind of viewer, and the snooty I like Malcolm X crowd probably hates Book of Eli, but that's what he's given to you as a gift. So Malcolm X, a hurricane. So he plays Reuben Foster, who's the subject of that amazing and really long Bob Dylan song, The Hurricane, about a black title boxer who's wrongfully accused of murder. So he plays the Hurricane. And then obviously for the younger generation, the film that most of us remember him for, and probably the first movie I ever saw him in, was as Coach Herman Boone in Remember the Titans.
Definitely. You've seen Remember the Titans, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
That's at least people our age. That's like they know Denzel is from Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Well, this is Kyle and I talked about this actually somewhat recently. The humorous situation where when you're talking to your parents, we know actors from the things we've seen them in, and our parents know them from what they've seen them in. And so it's like this funny dynamic where you're probably thinking of Denzel as like the young hothead from Malcolm X or The Hurricane or, Glory even.
Glory,
or something like that. But we're thinking of, Coach Boone for Remember the Titans.
It's kind of like Little Ruby, and it's all football related.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the one with Sandra Bullock. What's that one?
The Blind Side?
The Blind Side, yeah.
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys are more sports. I wasn't I'm not a huge sports fan like you guys are.
Yeah, you're not a big sports guy, so it makes sense why Remember the Titans isn't as high for you. The only other two I would mention are The Taking of Pelham 1-2-3. It's a remake of an older film.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I haven't seen that, but I'd like to put that on a movie weekend list.
Yeah, well, I've never seen the original, but the Denzel and John Travolta one is... I'd be interested to watch it again and see if it's actually good, but it's entertaining as all hell. Like, I really liked it, especially because Denzel plays like he's basically like the train operator, and he's at the center of the what do you call it? Like the operations center with all the trains, and his name is Garber, I think, and John Travolta is a bank robber, and he's telling him, Garber, you gotta do this and this, and like he's telling them he's basically holding this guy hostage and helping him operate the trains and stuff. It's really good, or I really liked it. And then another one, I saw this in high school, like kind of randomly, and I really liked it. It's called Safe House.
Oh yeah, I've got that.
It's Denzel is like ex-CIA. He defects and he is selling U.S. government secrets to the highest bidder. And he's like, FBI number 1 or CIA number 1, something Frost. And they capture him. And Ryan Reynolds is like some schmuck, like low-level CIA agent who happens to be babysitting that safe house that night when they bring him in. And they're like, you watch this guy and don't let him out of your sight. And then obviously he escapes, and then Reynolds has to go chase him. It's really good. It's really fun.
Kyle, is this the one with the Kanye song?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that this is your favorite rap song probably because of this film.
I love that song specifically because I saw this movie.
Yeah.
No Church in the Wild. So
yeah, that's the one.
I think that is a really good place to finish this up. Dad, your love of Denzel is inspiring, and I'm glad that we finally got you on the podcast.
Yeah, it was fun.
I aspire to someday love something or someone as much as you love Denzel.
Well, thanks for doing it. I know you were nervous about it, but of course you did a great job. I think.
That was fantastic.
Yeah. So, and thanks for taking the time to do it.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And thanks for being an ardent listener. My dad is a big fan of the podcast.
I haven't heard every single one, but I do listen to some of them, and when I have time, they're good. They're very entertaining.
The best thing
you guys are amazing. You guys have, in this little one today, you guys had more input than I did. You guys can talk about any subject, it seems like.
We just like to hear ourselves talk.
That could be another way of putting it, yeah.
I think the best compliment I've ever received about this podcast is you're like, I went to bed the other night and I turned your podcast on and I didn't fall asleep. Oh. But it's truly a compliment, so I appreciate it. But, all right. Well, thanks to you again. And then I would say before we go, actually, can you recap your list for us real quick?
You want to read them off real quick?
Yeah, from 10 to 1.
All right, let's see what I can find here. Number 10, Training Day. Number 9, Fences. Number 8, Inside Man. Number 7, Flight. Number 6, Crimson Tide. Number 5, Courage Under Fire. Number 4, Soldier Story. Number 2, The Equalizer.
Or number 3, The Equalizer.
3, The Equalizer. Huh. Yeah. Number 2 is Man on Fire. Number 1, Book of Eli.
That's right.
Fantastic.
Awesome. And before we go, I would like to say a big thank you to Kevin MacLeod. He put together our Not Top 3 and theme music. He is incomparably talented. Also incomparably talented is Erin. She put together our artwork. And of course, if you'd like to see more of her stuff, you can do so at Sant Design on Instagram.
And on a related note, I would like to thank our fantastic social media coordinator, Caroline Labranti. You can check her stuff out on the old internets. If you want to see her top 10 related stuff, check out our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook. Those are Top 10 KM. The 10 is spelled out TEN on all of those. If you want to send us, that is Kyle and Mike, an email to tell us what we did wrong, what we did right, how much you love Kyle's dad, or you want to volunteer a list that you want to join us for, that's top10km@gmail.com. And finally, I'm assuming you're listening to this on some podcast app, but if you want another one, we are on the Apple Podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, pretty much wherever podcasts can be found. That's what I would say, K-Dog.
I think that's all there is to say. Thanks, amigo. I will catch you next week.
And thank you, Jim, Papa Sant, Mr. Sant, for joining us. That was fantastic. And I hope you boys have a lovely weekend.
All right.
Thanks, Mike. It was great.
All right.
Adios,
Bye-bye.
amigo.